Chat GPT for Power BI. Chat GPT for Power BI integrates advanced natural language processing into Power BI, enabling users to generate insights and visualizations through conversation. This makes data analysis more intuitive and accessible, streamlining workflows and enhancing decision-making by allowing users to interact with their data using natural language queries.
Intro to Chat GPT for Power BI. Welcome to the Chat GPT for Power BI section of this course. In this segment, we will explore several common use cases and scenarios that are valuable for both Power BI users and developers. We'll cover tasks such as writing and troubleshooting DAX measures, creating data dictionaries, and adding comments to your code, among other topics. Here's a brief overview of what we'll be learning using tools like Chat GPT and Google Bard. We'll start with the basics, using GPT and Bard to help us get acquainted with Power BI as if we're beginners. Then, we'll move through the analyst workflow, connecting to various data sources, and discovering methods for documenting and commenting on our code. We'll also utilize GPT and Bard to explain fundamental Power BI concepts and decode our code. Following that, we'll generate DAX measures and calculated columns, and use GPT to diagnose and troubleshoot error messages. Finally, we'll provide practical advice on building visuals and dashboards. Our objectives for this section include learning how to use ChatGPT as a personal tutor for getting started with Power BI and understanding core concepts. We'll use it to document our M and DAX code, create data dictionaries based on table structures, generate Power BI formulas from text descriptions or sample data, and troubleshoot DAX code errors. Additionally, ChatGPT will guide us through step-by-step instructions for building visualizations and dashboards. We have many engaging topics to explore in this section, so let's get started. Getting started with ChatGPT for Power BI. Let's begin with a straightforward prompt. Imagine you're completely new to Power BI and unsure about where to start. You know that Power BI is a business intelligence tool, but you're uncertain about the initial steps to take. To address this, let's see how ChatGPT can assist us. We'll start with a simple question. I'm new to Power BI, how do I get started? Now, let's check ChatGPT's response. It provides a step-by-step guide to help beginners. The first step is to understand the basics, which involves familiarizing yourself with the core concepts of Power BI. Connect to data from Power BI. Let's dive into how large language models, LLMs, can assist with connecting to data sources. Imagine you've recently joined Maven Fuzzy Factory as a data analyst and need to create a report in Power BI using their existing data and technology platforms. Your first task is to import data from the company's MySQL database into Power BI, but you're unsure how to proceed. With no previous reports or colleagues to guide you, let's see if ChatGPT can offer assistance. Here's a helpful prompt. I've just been hired as a data analyst for Maven Fuzzy Factory, and I need to import data from their MySQL database into Power BI. I have access to MySQL, but I'm not sure how to connect. Can you help me? ChatGPT provides a step-by-step guide. Open Power BI Desktop. In the Home tab, click on Get Data. In the Get Data window, select MySQL Database from the list of data sources. Use the search bar if necessary. Click Connect to open the MySQL database connection settings. Enter the server name and database name. Specify authentication details, Windows or database, as required. Click Connect to establish the connection. Upon successful connection, a preview window of available tables will appear. Select the tables or views you want to import by checking the corresponding boxes. Optionally, write custom SQL queries by selecting the Advanced option checkbox. Click Load to import the data or transform data, to apply any data transformations before loading. Following these steps, Power BI will display the data in the query editor, allowing further transformations, cleaning, or combining as needed. Finally, clicking Close and Apply will load the data into Power BI. Similarly, Google Bard can assist with connecting to MySQL in Power BI, with slight differences in detail. It outlines steps for downloading Power BI Desktop, selecting MySQL database, entering connection details, and importing tables into Power BI. However, it doesn't mention the search bar for finding the MySQL connector or the advanced SQL query option, which are useful tips. Testing these steps in Power BI Desktop verifies their accuracy and helps build confidence in using LLMIS for guidance. This example demonstrates the utility of LLMIS in navigating familiar data sources like MySQL. However, for less familiar sources like Delta sharing, the guidance might be less precise due to knowledge cutoffs. When encountering such situations, combining LLM-generated insights with specific queries to technical teams can provide a solid starting point for further exploration. By leveraging these tools and strategies, you can effectively connect to and work with various data sources, even those you've never encountered before. Create a data dictionary. Next, I want to highlight a valuable use case for LLMIS like Chat GPT and Bard: their capability to interpret and document data sources. Imagine you're working on a data modeling project that requires creating a data dictionary for all the included sources. While this task isn't particularly challenging, it can be quite time-consuming. With the help of Chat GPT and Bard, we can expedite this process significantly. To start, I'll demonstrate how these tools can generate a data dictionary from a provided dataset. Chat GPT, for instance, can create a detailed data dictionary if given the dataset's variables, columns, value types, and any additional relevant information. Similarly, Google Bard can outline a step-by-step process, gathering the data, exploring the dataset, identifying terms, and creating the dictionary for each term. Although both LLMs follow a similar process, they articulate it differently. Let's begin with Chat GPT. I aim to create a 4-column data dictionary that includes the variable name, data type, description, and an example value for each variable. I'll copy my prompt and retrieve data from my Maven Fuzzy Factory development table in Power BI. After selecting and copying the necessary columns, I'll paste this data into Chat GPT. However, due to a limitation on the amount of data that can be pasted, I'll only use the top 10 rows to avoid errors. Upon submitting this to Chat GPT, it generates a comprehensive data dictionary with columns like order IDs, created at dates, website sessions, user IDs, product IDs, items purchased, price in USD, and COGS in USD. ChatGPT accurately identifies the data types and provides appropriate descriptions and example values. Next, I'll test the same prompt with Google Bard. Bard delivers a similar result, presenting the data dictionary with slight variations in order and terminology but maintaining the same overall structure and content. Both ChatGPT and Bard have proven to be efficient in creating and structuring data dictionaries. They offer the flexibility to add more fields, such as relationships between tables or specifying primary and foreign keys, either by modifying and rerunning the queries or by manually adding these details to the generated structure. This demonstrates a quick and effective approach to developing data dictionaries for your data model sources. Format and comment Power Query Code. Using GPT or Bard to create a data dictionary is highly beneficial, but we can leverage GPT in various other ways to document our code. For instance, GPT can help us format M code, insert comments, and refine applied step names. Let's take a practical example using our product lookup table in Power BI. By accessing the advanced editor, we can see the underlying M code for this table. Our goal is to use ChatGPT to format and update this code. First, we copy the M code from the advanced editor. Then, we prompt ChatGPT to add comments, format the code, and update the applied step names for better clarity. After pasting the prompt, ChatGPT processes the code and provides a well-formatted version with comments. The resulting code includes descriptive step names such as loading the CSV, promoting headers, and changing column types, with each step clearly documented. By copying this formatted code back into the query editor in Power BI, we can observe the improvements. Each applied step is now commented, making it easier to understand at a glance without delving into the advanced editor. While the actual applied step names remain the same, the added comments provide clarity and context. If desired, we can further customize these comments and step names manually. This demonstrates the ease and efficiency of using GPT to format and comment M code. Once the initial structure is set, you can tweak it as needed to better fit your preferences. You can also refine your prompts to GPT to achieve more specific naming conventions for the applied steps, enhancing the readability and maintainability of your code. This concludes our quick demo on leveraging GPT to enhance your M-code documentation in Power BI. Explain fundamental Power BI concepts. Next, let's delve into how we can leverage Chat GPT and Google Bard to clarify some fundamental Power BI concepts. Suppose you're just beginning your journey in business intelligence and need to quickly grasp core data analysis and modeling principles. For instance, you might want to understand the difference between a calculated column and a measure in Power BI. Let's pose this question to Chat GPT and see what we get in response. We'll enter our prompt. Can you explain the difference between measures and calculated columns in Power BI? Chat GPT responds. In Power BI, measures and calculated columns are essential components used for calculations and analysis within a dataset, but they serve different purposes and have distinct characteristics. Measures are calculations performed on the fly, typically in response to user interactions or queries. They are used to aggregate data and provide insights into various metrics, such as sums, averages, counts, and other mathematical operations. Measures are dynamic, meaning their values change based on the filters or slicers applied in a visual. They only exist within the context of a report or visual and are not stored in the underlying data source. On the other hand, calculated columns are created within the data model and become part of the dataset during the data loading process. They are based on expressions defined using Power BI's formula language, DAX. These columns are calculated row by row and are fixed, meaning they do not change in response to user interactions or queries. Calculated columns can be created using either DAX in the data model or M-code in the query editor, and they are often used to add new descriptive attributes to the data, such as product categories or customer segments. In summary, measures are dynamic calculations used for aggregating data and visualizations, while calculated columns are pre-calculated during the data loading phase and used for defining new data attributes or complex transformations. Now, let's see what Google Bard has to say. Bard might frame it like this. Measures and calculated columns in Power BI are both used to create new data but have different purposes and evaluation methods. Measures are used to calculate values aggregated over multiple rows, such as total sales per month, and are evaluated at runtime, meaning they are calculated only when needed. This dynamic evaluation can enhance performance by reducing the amount of data Power BI needs to process at once. In contrast, calculated columns are used to create new data for each row in a table, like calculating the percentage of sales made online. These columns are evaluated at load time, making them fixed once the data is loaded into Power BI. Although this can slow down the loading process, it improves performance during analysis, as the calculations are already done. These AI tools provide valuable insights, but it's essential to critically evaluate their responses and ensure their accuracy. This approach applies to other core Power BI concepts like row and filter context, context transition, and calculating totals in a matrix. Always verify and validate the information provided by large language models. Generate DAX from examples. Let's delve deeper into the concept of calculated columns versus measures in Power BI, and examine how GPT and Bard can generate examples of these functionalities. We'll start by entering a prompt asking for examples of when to use calculated columns and measures in Power BI. First, let's clarify the difference between the two. Calculated columns and measures serve distinct purposes. Calculated columns are computed row by row during data refresh and are useful for calculations based on individual rows of data. For example, if you have a sales table with quantity and unit price columns, you can create a calculated column named total sales by multiplying quantity and unit price for each row. This calculation iterates through the table, generating a total sales value for each row. On the other hand, measures are computed on the fly and are used in visualizations, tables, and cards to display aggregated values like sums, averages, and counts. Measures are dynamic and are recalculated based on the context of the visualization or user interaction. For instance, using the same sales table, you can create a measure called total sales that sums the total sales column across all rows in the table. This measure dynamically updates based on filters or slicers applied in your report. Now, let's evaluate how Bard performs. Bard's explanation correctly states that calculated columns add new data to your model, evaluated at each row, and that measures calculate values based on your data model, evaluated in the context of the report. However, Bard's example of a calculated column using the sum function is incorrect because it sums the entire column for each row, which is not useful. Instead, a more appropriate example would be multiplying retail price by order quantity for each row to create a revenue column. For measures, Bard's example of combining count and distinct is also incorrect, as Power BI does not support this combination. The correct approach would be to use the distinctcount function to count distinct values, such as customer IDs. Through this comparison, we see that while Bard can explain concepts accurately, it often falls short in providing precise examples. Conversely, Chat GPT tends to generate more accurate and practical examples, making it a more reliable tool for technical tasks in Power BI. To further enhance your understanding, you can provide Chat GPT with a basic model structure, such as a few table names and column names, and request it to create a calculation for total revenue. Testing these examples in Power BI will help verify the accuracy and utility of the generated calculations. Next, we'll continue our exploration of DAX in Power BI and see how Chat GPT handles explaining and commenting on DAX code. Conclusion. In conclusion, we've explored various ways analysts can utilize Chat GPT and Google Bard in their daily tasks. While these tools performed exceptionally well in some demonstrations, providing precise and useful insights, there were instances where they faltered or even produced misleading information. The goal here wasn't to showcase the accuracy of these tools but to highlight their potential to transform the way data professionals operate. Despite their imperfections, these tools are continually improving, and we anticipate more instances of exceptional performance and fewer failures. Analysts who embrace these AI tools will maintain a competitive edge, while those who avoid them may struggle to keep pace with their AI-augmented peers. It's important to remember that AI isn't flawless and may hallucinate or offer incorrect responses. We expect improvements over time, but it's crucial to approach AI outputs with a healthy dose of skepticism and verify their accuracy. Effective prompt engineering can significantly enhance the quality of responses. Providing clear, specific, and meaningful context will yield better results. AI tools like Chat GPT can be applied to various analytical use cases, such as troubleshooting, code generation, and task automation. As we look to the future, it's clear that Chat GPT and Bard are just the beginning of a revolution in how analysts work. Recent announcements from companies like Microsoft and Tableau indicate that AI tools will become increasingly integrated into the software analysts use daily. Much like the internet at the turn of the century, AI will fundamentally reshape the future of work. To stay ahead, keep up with new tools and technology, follow industry developments from reputable sources, and maintain a balance of curiosity and skepticism. Be wary of unrealistic promises while embracing genuine advancements. Finally, focus on building a well-rounded skill set. As AI automates more technical tasks, honing uniquely human skills such as problem-solving, strategic thinking, communication, and business acumen will become even more vital. AI will not only enhance your technical efficiency but also free up time for strategic, big-picture thinking. Thank you for joining this course. We at Maven Analytics are excited to see how you integrate these tools into your work. If you have any breakthroughs or insights to share, connect with us on social media. Until next time, keep exploring and innovating.
Thanks for joining our video. Would you be interested to know more? Please contact us to www.iCertGlobal.com or email to info@iCertGlobal.org.